Hey, if you're watching this, you're probably sitting at your desk wondering whether you should spend a good chunk of money on a high-end NAS or keep using the old external drive you've got in the corner. I get it, there's a lot of hype around enterprise-grade gear and you don't want to end up with a box that sits half-filled, cranking power while you're still juggling backups on a laptop. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's talk about the QNAP Turbo NAS TVS 873e and see if it actually solves the problems you're facing, or if it's just another shiny piece of hardware that will collect dust. First off, the TVS 873e is positioned as a high-performance, versatile, and energy-efficient 8-bay system. That sounds impressive, but the real question is, what does that mean for a home office or a small creative studio? Imagine you're a freelance video editor who needs to keep multiple 4K projects online, stream them to a workstation for editing, and also have a reliable backup that can survive a power outage. In that scenario, the NAS's 8 bays give you room to start with a modest RAID 5 array and expand to RAID 6 or even a hybrid pool as your archive grows. The fact that the unit ships ready for you to mount up to 16 terabytes of hard drives, or even larger drives later, means you won't be forced into a buy new NAS every year cycle. Now, the TVS 873e packs an AMD RX 421BD processor and Radeon R7 graphics. That isn't just for show, those cores let the machine handle transcoding on the fly. If you're streaming 4K video to a secondary device, like a TV in the living room, the NAS can re-encode the stream in real time instead of choking on the data. I've seen a lot of reviewers miss that point and just praise the raw specs. The practical upside is you can drop a large video library on the NAS, fire up Plex or NAP's own multimedia suite, and have the system serve different devices without needing a separate media server. For a family that watches movies in the bedroom and a home office that needs fast file access, that dual role can be a genuine time saver. On the flip side, the very same processing power does come with a price tag. The unit itself is priced well above the average consumer NAS. If you're only looking to store documents, photos, and a few media files, the extra CPU cycles will likely go unused. In my own test setup, I tried running a modest Adobe Premiere workflow directly off the NAS and noticed a small latency spike when the system was simultaneously handling a 1080p stream. That tells me the TVS 873e is best suited for users who will actually take advantage of the transcoding and multitasking capabilities, rather than those who just need a simple backup box. Another practical point, the TVS 873e is sold as a sealed chassis with the hard drives and RAM not pre-installed. That means you'll need to open the box, slot in your drives, and add the 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory yourself. For a tech-savvy user, that's a non-issue. You can cherry-pick the exact drives you want, maybe a mix of SSDs for cache and HDDs for bulk storage, and configure the RAID exactly how you need it. But for a buyer who expects a plug-and-play experience, this extra step can feel like a hurdle. Also, remember that you'll have to factor in the cost of the drives and the memory modules when you calculate the total investment. The box alone isn't the full picture. If you're wondering about connectivity, the TVS 873e offers 4 USB 3.0 ports, 2 HDMI outputs, and 4 1GBE ports. The dual HDMI ports allow you to connect the NAS directly to a monitor or TV, essentially turning it into a mini PC for quick file browsing or media playback without needing a separate client device. The 4 gigabit Ethernet ports can be teamed together for link aggregation, which boosts throughput when multiple users are pulling large files at the same time. In a small office where 3 designers are simultaneously pulling 10 gigabytes assets, that extra bandwidth can shave minutes off each download. However, if you're the only user at home, you probably won't notice any real benefit beyond the basic gigabit speed. Energy efficiency is a claim the manufacturer makes, and in practice it holds up when the system is idle. The NAS has a low-power standby mode that drops power consumption to under 30 W. Compare that to a desktop workstation that might sit at 80 W just idling, and you see a real cost saving over months of operation. But once the drives spin and the CPU handles transcoding, the power draw jumps up into the 70-80W range. So the energy-efficient label is most accurate for users who keep the NAS on continuously but don't constantly push it to the max. So who should buy the QNAP Turbo NAS TVS 873e? It's a solid match for power users who need a central hub that can both store massive amounts of data and serve media to multiple devices. Think